Hello, this is Dale Pearce. Today we're going to talk about a case study for registered apprenticeship effectiveness in the Finger Lakes region. American College of Education. Assignment 4. Alright, so first we're going to talk a little bit about the history of case study itself. Is a qualitative research method. Really examines the phenomena on what is actually occurring within a given environment. Observations are to be made within that specific environment to collect data. And data can be collected from a variety of ways, whether it's through interviews, observations, and focus groups. Then that data is taken, compiled, and then analyzed in several particular manners. It could be through thematic coding and so forth. Case studies are the exact opposite of the experiment itself, where you set up the experiment. The researcher in this particular case is actually just making observations into a particular environment and looking at the social science and the human phenomena that is occurring within it. One of the problems with case studies, and this has always been noted for quite some time, is they're not well defined and well structured protocols to actually setting them up. There are some, probably best practices. However, there's no clear pathway on how to do the best possible case study because a case study has many variables into it, where it's rather difficult for one to have a clear path and direction to execute one. Right, so outstanding researchers so far in case studies, we're going to look at Robert Yin. He's done quite a bit in this arena. Quintano and Adrande really look at the validity and reliability of case studies, as they've always kind of been in question by quantitative researchers, and then also Yazin, who actually references several qualitative case study researchers in educational document that they present in 2015 to talk about best practices and how they are used in an educational platform. Looking at researchers in apprenticeships, Decker, Kuhn, and then also Dr. Pamela Howes talks a little bit about her expertise in registered apprenticeships and segueing from youth apprenticeships. So those are some researchers that we will take note of as I go through setting up this case study. So my specific case study, I'm going to look at the effectiveness of registered apprenticeships in the Finger Lakes region in upstate New York. With that being said, the more that I think about my concept paper, it's going to have to change in time here. And really, the case study is probably the best route for me to go because, again, the questions that I'm asking myself time and time again are apprenticeship programs effective? Are they not? Are they? Really, I'm just looking for an answer. What correlation do they have into regards of the effectiveness of a workforce solution? So with that being said, steps that I have to take as far as implementing, one, execution. I have to determine there's an exploratory insight to the phenomena that I need, some type of an explanation for. So that's why I'll set up the case study, and then ultimately explanatory, that's going to explain what is actually going on here within the confines of the study that I'm going to set up. With that being said, I could do a single case study or I could do multiple case studies. As I've presented before, if I am looking at the effectiveness of the registered apprenticeship model within advanced manufacturing in the Finger Lakes region, probably going to make more sense for me to look at multiple companies that have similar trade outlines and similar work processes that they adhere to in New York State. With that being said, looks like I'm going to go probably the more embedded approach where I'm looking very specifically on one or two particular items and can measure that across each of the companies that I will use in a case study. And again, that goes all the way back directly to my original question. Are registered apprenticeships effective? How are they effective? And that's the data that I'm looking to gain. So looking specifically at the apprenticeship program here, I have the apprentice at hand. On the peripheral, you'll see the journey worker, the co-worker, and then HR personnel. Another item or person that I could, or people that I can interview are the Department of Labor, the ATRs, the Apprentice Training Representatives. And really, what I would be able to pull from them is what they are able to see in regards to the effectiveness of the registered apprenticeship model. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for specifically an answer if they are or if they are not. It's going to be interesting to see what the responses are and then code the data accordingly and then find themes within it and then analyze it. Other interesting facts that we have going on here, well, case studies, well, there's still kind of a mystery, and there's always kind of a back and forth between researchers on this. So I'm still going to have to continue to do quite a bit of research, especially for people that have executed case studies of this nature. I will have to do further research to make sure that I carry out ethical and conduct meaningful research to exactly the research questions I am presenting. As far as apprenticeships are concerned, one of the interesting facts that I have seen within the literature review is there are conflicting research that goes against the effectiveness of registered apprenticeships and apprenticeships as a whole as a vehicle for workforce solution. So it's interesting to see that we see in different areas where apprenticeship is working and where it is not working, and it is backed by a variety of data, and that is supported in my literature review. So this is a meaningful study in that sense to see on a qualitative standpoint out of the Finger Lakes region what we will see and if that will be indicative of the population in New York State and even furthermore into the nation. With that being said, my experience working with companies in the Finger Lakes region for the last 10 years or so, I've seen companies that have migrated towards registered apprenticeships as a effective vehicle for workforce development, but also I've seen companies steer clear of it for a variety of reasons. And ultimately, what I would like to do is see what it is that companies are looking into. What I want to see is, why are companies participating in registered apprenticeship? How are they effective? If they are effective, and if they're not, why is it that they are not participating? So that's going to be interesting, which kind of leads further down the road to my study. These are the references that I've used for this particular PowerPoint, and that will be my assignment 4 for this week.